21st of May, Rabbi Levitt, substituted by Rabbi Fabian Daniel.
Okay, Lou. You
Hello.
ready? Hi.
Sorry for the delay.
Okay. You ready to read? Is Mayor here?
Yep,
Where's
I'm
here?
here. Good morning.
Okay. Who read last? I don't remember.
I don't either.
I don't either. I'll yield to the Kohen.
Uh,
Okay, let
okay.
me just get my Danielle out.
Okay, we're holding by Yud Base Hay.
Okay, Danielle.
We're coming to the end of Daniel here. I got the exciting part of Daniel, the very finish. Mashiach comes and everything.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
wow.
I mean,
you
that's
bet.
what
Hey.
I mean, that's what we just spoke about. I mean, I'm not sure the next part. I mean, that's the basically what the last psukim we were dealing with is the Geula. His nevuah is about the Geula here, and that's what the last psukim we're talking about. You know, when we said here, Rabim Tirbin, when the lashon of Rab in pasuk Dalet in the very end, the Rabim Tir Bedas, and that's a famous language, the Aretz Mali Dea. That's supposed to be when Mashiach comes. And we were talking about Trias Amasim, even. So there's a lot of discussion about this whole issue about the Tria, about Geula, Mashiach coming versus Trias Amasim. So this is the source of some of this information. So now we're in Pasuk Hay, which is we have a few psukim left till the end of Daniel, and this is discussing the whole issue of what we were just mentioning. So go ahead, Mayor.
Okay, let's see. Hey, it says, V'ra'iti ani Daniel v'hine shnayim acherim omdim echad hena l'sifat hayeor v'echad hena l'sifat hayeor. Okay, and then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, two others were standing, one on this side of the river bank, and one on that side of the river bank. Okay, so let's see what the comment says. Not much. Okay, it says Shnaim Acherim, two others. These are two angels besides the one who had been speaking to Daniel until now. Barbanel interprets the additional angels as referring to the two new religions. Wow, Christianity and Islam. Speaking to Gabriel, who is representing Israel. Both angels inquire, how long until the concealed end? To this revivification of the dead, a tenet accepted by both these faiths. Oh, wow. So I guess
That's something, huh?
yeah, all three religions accept this concept, huh? Okay, one more little.
They want to know when it's coming.
Okay, and Hayor, that's the riverbank. The Hidekel, the pseudo. Oh, see above 10:4. I was next to the great river, which is Hiddekel. I guess that's the name of the river, maybe.
Right, the Hiddekel. It's one
Okay.
of the rivers that comes out of Gan Eden or something.
Wow. Okay, so the two others represent the other religions.
Okay, let's see. I'm not sure there's much else here. Um, Let me see if I have anything, because most of the Perushim don't say too much here, except for what you said already.
Oh, okay.
The Ralbag adds a little bit. Let me just see what he says here. He also is very short. Shnaim shehem acherim below nisbar mihem ach yadati shemalasam lamata mimailas Gabriel Harvey. In other words, it seems to be that he's saying, the Ralbag, that these two other angels, we don't know who they are. We don't know who they are, but we do know that they're not on the same level as Gabriel. They're on the lower level.
Uh-huh. Oh, that,
Because that we can understand, because they're asking him when the time is coming. So if they're asking him, they don't know as much as he knows. Right? Kihem shalu es Gabriel, the gamheim ba'aretz. They're on the ground. Al sfas hayor, but Gabriel haya mimal. He's above. He's higher up. Lemei me hayor. He's floating above the water. They're on the banks of the river. So you clearly see he's on a higher level. The Yidme shehem tzas katzas koicho shesh lehem mi mava michaloimos hamidubar hanavua. Okay, whatever. Go on, Lou, with the next pasuk.
Vayomer Laish Lavush Habadim Asher Mi Ma'al Lememe Hayor Ad Masei Kates Hapilaos. Okay, the translation. One said to the man clothed in linen who was above the waters of the river, how long until the concealed end? The man clothed in linen, the angel who had been speaking to Daniel until now, who was above the waters of the river. The angel had appeared to Daniel as though suspended between heaven and earth. This symbolized Gabriel's superiority over the other two angels. The concealed end. The translation follows Metsudos and Reb Shmuel Masnuth's preferred rendition. See Radak. Reb Shmuel Masnuth suggests, alternatively, wonders. I guess what, the wondrous end?
I mean, the Pelos is the wondrous end, the wonders, when are the wonders? Ad Matai Kates Hapelos. This amazing. When is the amazing? When the Geula comes, it's something amazing.
Right.
And when it comes, they're asking, when is this amazing Geula going to happen? In other words, we
Right.
see it seems to be continuing in the same path. It's oftentimes the reference to Gabriel is Lavush, is Ish Lavush Habadim. It's dressed in flax. It's a Lushan, but it refers to it's referring to Gabriel, who's on a higher level than the other Malachim. Doesn't seem to be saying exactly. Pelos hamakusa kimo yifla imcha. Pelos, I guess the way the Masudas Sion says it, it's a hidden something. This is a hidden. The idea is it's something hidden. I saw from I think it was it was the Chutim Iran from Reb Nachman. So he says regarding the Geula, that it's forbidden to reveal it because it says that the Geula will come behesek hadas. Chazal say the Geula is going to come at a time, it's going to come unexpected. And people, what happens is that people come and make predictions and say, tomorrow Geula is coming. So then it's not going to come tomorrow because it won't be coming behesek hadas, by surprise. Hesek hadas, because the Chazal say that it's coming in a surprise. It'll be a surprise. That's the lashon here. It's hidden. So they're asking when it's coming, but the answer is that that's the whole surprise. It's a surprise. It'll come at a time when people aren't expecting it. And it's not, we find that Yaakov Avinu wanted to reveal part of the whole Geula is that it comes behesek hadas, it comes with pelos. It's something hidden until it actually happens. And that's the lashon here. Yaakov tried to say to his sons, he knew apparently, he could see. He had nevuah in the end of his life, and he could see when the Geula was going to come, and he was trying to reveal it, and Hashem made him forget.
Wow.
So the other malachim want to know also. They're trying to ask this malach Gavriel when the Geula, the malach of Moa, of Christianity and of Islam, want to know when the Geula is coming, but Gavriel probably knows, but he's not saying.
Uh-huh.
Okay, Mayor, maybe you'll continue.
Okay, Zion. Let's see. It says, "Va'eshma et ha'ish levush habadim asher mima'al meimei hayor vayarem yemino usmolo el hashemayim vayishava dechei ha'olam ki lemoed moadim v'chetzi uchechalot nefetz yad am kodesh tichlena kol eleh." The long pasuk. Okay, let's see.
So you'll read the translation, but he's basically in a way giving he's alluding to the Geula, but not in a specific way. Go ahead.
Okay, it says, "I heard the man clothed in linen who was above the waters of the river as he lifted his right hand and his left hand to the heavens and swore by the life source of the world that after a periods and a half, upon the completion of the fragmenting of the hand of the holy people, all these would be finished." Read some commentary on this one.
Right.
Okay.
There actually is commentary on.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
So it says, Vayarem Yemino, as he lifted his right hand. The gesture is customary during swearing, as in Breshit 14:22, where Abraham says to the king of Sodom, "I have lifted my hand to Hashem." Okay. That's what America uses in the court system. You have to raise your right hand.
Right. So it's an old idea.
Yeah,
goes way back to Avram Avinu.
Yeah.
And you see here in Daniel, the Malach Gavriel's doing it also.
Yeah.
He's swearing and he's lifting up his hand. Lifts up both hands, I thought. Let's see here. Go ahead.
Okay. Usmolo, and his left hand to swear to the two angels standing on either side of him who had addressed this question to him. Oh, so that's why he needed both hands, I guess. The
Right.
angels were on each side of him. Wow. Okay, going on. Vayishava and swore. The promised redemption could come in one of two ways. Should Israel merit it, Hashem will speed up the coming of the Messiah, Mashiach. If, Has v'shalom, this is not the case, the Messiah will nevertheless come in his appointed time. That's from Sanhedrin. There could even be more than one appointed time, according to the Ramban. The angel wanted to dispel any notions that, given this flexibility, the redemption could be delayed indefinitely, chas v'shalom. Therefore, he swore that there was an ultimate point in time that could not pass without the promised redemption. That was all the Malbim. Okay. And going on, B'chei ha'olam, by the life source of the world. The translation follows Ibn Ezra, Rav Shmuel Masnuth, and the Mitzudot, who render olam, world. Rambam, the Moreh Nevuchim, and the Kuzari render chai, it's chai or chai, as life. Thus, God is described as the one who gives life to the entire universe. A similar phrase, presumably based on our verse, is found in Baruch She'amar prayer. According to the above commentary, there too the translation Chai Ha'olamim would be the life source of the worlds. Other commentators to Baruch She'amar render differently. The translations there would apply to our verse as well. And Rabbi Yaakov Enden interprets Chai as the live one. God is the epitome of perfect life, since his life is intrinsic to himself and is not dependent on outside sources. Hence, Chai, it's actually Chai, I'm sorry, it's a Tzerei. Chai, God is the live one of the worlds. Many authorities, notably Abu Duraham, in his interpretation of Baruch She'amar, render ha'olamim as forever. The reading of Chai, now he said, okay, so he says the reading is Chai, not Chai, which means who lives, the one who lives forever. Okay, L'moed, moadim v'chetzi, after a period, periods and a half. The same end is stated by the angel in chapter 7, verse 25. Okay. Ubechalot nafetz yad im kodesh. Upon the completion of the fragmenting of the hand of the holy people. When Israel's power, yad is a metaphor for power, has been dissipated, then the Redeemer will come, as is written, when Hashem will have judged his people, when he sees that the enemy power progresses. And that's from Devarim Rashi. Or Nafet, the dispersal, as in Me'ela Nafsa Kol Haaretz. From these, the whole world was spread out. That's from Breshit. Both renditions, fragmenting and spreading out, are different manners of dispersion and come from the same root. Okay. Mayane Hayeshua, and Malbim combine the two interpretations and render it thus. And when the dispersal of the hand, i.e., the shattering of Israel's power, and of the holy people, the Jewish diaspora, will cease. The Talmud in Sanhedrin relates that the era of the Messiah, Mashiach, there will be no Torah scholars. The Peruta, penny, will have gone from the pocket, and Israel will have given up hope for redemption. Okay, and Tichlena kol ele, all these would be finished. All the nations and kingdoms that have been prophesied about these visions will have found their end.
So there's an important point here that I have here in the Yifas Lekets, which is often spoke about. There's something called the Ito and something called Achishena, meaning at the time or before the time or early or whatever you want to call it. So this is the idea that what you read about, that if the Jewish people merit, so then it could be Achishena. It'll come, and even that could be a minute before the Ito. Anytime before the appointed time is called Achishena. Zachu Achishena, lo Zachu. If we're Zeiche, we get Achishena. If we're not Zeiche, we get the Ito. And so there's no exact time except for the final time, which wherever that is, we don't know when that is. But we know for sure that it's going to happen. There's a final line, if you want to call it that. It has to happen by a certain time. We don't know what that exact time is, but we know that it's not and most people feel it's not so far away.
Mm.
But we don't know. With that, Lou, why don't you? That was a lot was said here in this pasuk, and that's the main idea of it, though, that he says to them that he's swearing that you can't tell you when the time is. They asked him, want to know when the time was of the Tchias Amesim, of the Geula, and the answer is when their Malchus is going to finish. And the answer is there's no specific time, and there's a final time, and he's not telling them, and we don't know. We know that it's Vada. One thing is for sure, that there is a time and it's going to happen 100%. Okay.
Don't we know that it has to happen by the 7,000th year?
It's a good question. None of us are going to be around then. I don't think we're going to live for the next 200 and whatever years. But there's some reason to believe that. There is reason to say that. Some want to say the calendar isn't. We don't. It's like when the Jewish people thought Moshe wasn't coming down because they miscalculated the time. So, if it happens, it happens. We can't. I would suggest that it's probably going to happen long before then, but it seems like everything's in place, now. But I don't know what the now means. In a Kadosh Baruch Hu's eyes, now could be in a minute, in an hour, in a day, in a week, in a month, in 10 years, 20 years, or 50 years, or 100 years. I don't know. None of us will be around in 250 years or whatever it is. 200. We're in Tufshin Pei Hey. So what do we have left? A little over 200 years. I think, if I'm not mistaken. 5,700 and uh,
85.
85, so 215 years.
Mm.
Anybody plans on living 215 years? I mean, there's people who lived 100 years, so you know, theoretically, there might be somebody, a baby born who could live, and he'll have a descendant who will make it, whatever. Or
Right.
a couple takes a couple generations, even when you got the 100-year-olds, still it's 215 years is then, and whatever. Hopefully, long before then.
Okay.
Okay.
Vani Shemati Velo Avin Vaom Ra Adoni Ma Acharis Eila. So it says, he said, "Go, Daniel, for these matters are obscured and sealed until the time of the end." So I guess that's Gabriel speaking.
That's what it sounds like.
Okay, let's see the commentary. Go, Daniel, leave this topic. Do not inquire further, for these matters are obscured and sealed until the end, until the time of the end, until the time of the redemption draws near, according to Rashi. It seems that as the promised time approaches, the wise ones will perceive the approach of the end before its actual arrival. This is intimated by Rambam in Sefer Hageluah. Rav Brachia and Rav Simon said 3 clues were provided about Moses' burial site. 1 in the valley, 2 in the land of Moab, 3 opposite base Peor. And still no man knows his burial site. The end about which it is written, "For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redemption has come," all the more so. The matters are obscured and sealed until the time of the end. The heart in which the day of vengeance is sealed does not disclose to the mouth.
Right, that's what I was telling you. That
Right.
this is a close. They were asking when the Geula is coming, when the Techiyah is coming. The answer is, he's telling Gabriel's telling Daniel, and the other Malachim wanted to know too, but this is a closed book,
Right?
and at the time, perhaps there will be those who will sense it's coming before it comes, who are here at the time. But it's time where he's talking about it cannot be revealed, and it's intentionally attention from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. This is something called top secret.
Uh-huh.
This is the real, there's things that they talk about being. My father's worked in my father, Zechorin Levracha, worked in aerospace and TRW, and he had certain things he said he could never speak about. Not even, I remember in latter years, he said he still, as far as he's concerned, they're not to be spoken about. Whatever. So
I worked for TRW also.
Oh, you did? Oh,
I was there for 13 years.
yeah,
you might have known your father.
Well, you were probably, what years were you there? He was probably retired already.
I was there from 78 until 91, I guess. Yeah, 78 to 91.
So he was there in 78. He was there. I mean, he retired before 91, I think. Not exactly.
Huh.
He retired, whatever, but so you were there I mean, I'm not sure what department you were in. He
Uh,
was, I mean, it's a big place, you know.
oh yeah, 20,000 employees when I was there.
Wow.
Right. So,
Was he in the Shalom Club? Do you know?
he told me about something that, what does it mean, the Shalom? He said there was some place where they had a minion or something.
Yeah, we had a club. We had a Jewish club. TRW had clubs. The administration of the company allowed uh, employees to form clubs, and they gave you a little bit of money, and they gave you meeting rooms and things like that. And we had a
Wow.
club, and we used to meet weekly, and we brought rabbis in, and we had shiurim.
I really don't remember him speaking about it. I can't ask him at this point.
Yeah, I don't remember the name Fabian particularly, but I don't think I would remember so long ago the names anyway.
I mean,
But
he
I bet
just
you I knew him.
probably you had some contact. It makes some sense. I mean, he was what they called from the senior, not in the upper. He said he didn't know how to play politics, so he couldn't get in the upper quote management, but he was as senior as he could get with his not playing politics.
Right, right. Yeah, I remember there was
Hmm.
a bunch of older men in the group.
Hmm.
Right. Could have been
So
him.
I bet you he was one of them.
Yeah. I mean, he just passed away at 94, I believe it was, unless it was
Wow.
95. I mean, he was born in November of 29.
Yeah, so he's 20 years older than me, which would make sense. It would fit. Because I was young. I was in my 20s. So he would have been in his 40s or 50s.
Right. And they early retired him along with a lot of others. They were trying to cut off on the budget.
Oh, I remember that. I remember when they did that.
Right.
I was laid off a few years after that.
Oh, yeah.
Very
Okay.
interesting.
Very interesting. So,
On my way, I'll be back at 4:30 for that contract. If he's not coming, let me know.
okay, we should be getting, this should stop any minute now, or we have another,
We've got 7 minutes left.
oh, because we started late. Fine, let's continue.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're in
Sani
Yud.
Shamati Velo Avin. So we said that this is the closed book, the secret book. Okay, Mayor, why don't you read another pasuk? We'll
Okay,
go as far
Yud.
as we can until we get to the end here. Few
Until
more
it cuts us
pasukim.
off. Okay, very good. Yud says, Yitboraru v'yit labnu v'yitzarfu rabim v'hirshiu rishaim v'lo yavinu kol.
Wait, did you do tests?
I did tests.
Oh, you did tests? Yomer Lecha, Daniel,
Yeah,
Kisas.
right.
Oh, fine. I was thinking you did tests. I got confused.
So I'm on 10 now, Yud.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so let's see. V'lo yavinu kol rishaim v'maskilem lim yavinu. Okay, so they will be elucidated, clarified, and refined by many people. The wicked will act wickedly, and none of the wicked will understand, but the wise will understand. Okay, so let's see comments on 10. It says Yitbararu v'yit halabnu. It will be elucidated, clarified, and refined. The reference is to the calculations about the end, according to Rashi. The Yitzarfu Rabim, and refined by many. Many will be deluded into thinking that their calculation of the end is absolutely refined and free from error. That's the Mitzudot. Let's see.
Yep.
The Hershiu Rishayim, the wicked will act wickedly. The wicked will fail in their attempts to find the end. But when the time that they have erroneously ascribed to be the appointed time comes, without redemption taking place, they will erroneously come to the conclusion that there will, chas v'shalom, be no redemption. It's according to Rashi.
Oy vey.
Yeah. Well, but that's the other nations, right? Not us.
Right. In other words, or some people who maybe people went either the other nations or people who were Rishon who went off.
Right. Rishonim. Okay.
Because people who make their calculations, the first, I mean, we find that there's many people, even big tzaddikim, who said Gula is supposed to come at a certain time, and the time came and the time went. And that's
Shabtai
exactly
C, right? There was a major mistake.
right. That was a big, that's part of what the Chazal were warning against. I mean, there was also by the time we said, by the time of Rabbi Akiva with Bar
Or
Kochba,
right.
right? These were big hits for Klal Yisrael. And it took and even Shabtai Tzvi took a big toll on Klal Yisrael. But, you know, the tzaddikim and the gedolim very much, they're anticipating and want very much for the Geula to come. But it's, and it says, we even said that they're going to sense the Geula coming. I think we said the tzaddikim, the chachamim will sense the Geula is coming. So these tzaddikim or gedolim at the time perceived that this was it. And, you know, when it with Rabbi Akiva was Rabbi Akiva, you know, and
Right.
he
Well,
still
now
even
today also there are I've heard many different times people say, rabbis say, we're in the period. It's the time of Mashiach is coming, and we see all the signs.
yeah, well, that it's clear that everything there's Gemaras, the Chazal explain what the signs of Geula are, and they're all here. We're not
Right.
missing any. We're not missing any of them.
Uh-huh.
So, but we don't know what that means. We don't know what that means in the next 10 minutes, next hour, next day, next month, next year, next 10 years, we don't know.
Right.
It's becomes because Chazal said, and Kadosh Baruch Hu said, it's going to come behesek hadas. It's going to come when people don't expect it, and we can't fool with that.
Doesn't Chezek Adas mean that you're not paying attention?
That's essentially what it means.
So we're
In other
definitely
words,
paying attention.
well, yeah, but paying attention to it, it'll come by surprise is a better way to put it.
Yeah.
In other words, because there's times when you think, you just don't like, how can, there's a couple of different times when Mashiach's going to come, as we spoke about. There were two different times. One is when we deserve it, when we've done tshuva, and it's hard to understand, has Klal Yisrael done tshuva? Are we roy and fitting for the Geula to come? It's hard to see that, but
Isn't it pretty clear that's not the case?
we would think that it's not the case. Depends on how you look at Klal Yisrael, because remember the idea of Geula coming is a cumulative. It's a cumulative bank account. In other words, that throughout history, people did things to help bring the Geula. It's not that we have to be as fitting as the generation of the Tanaim or the Amoraim or the big tzaddikim. Even just today, who's on the madrega of the people of the time of the Chavetz Chaim or the Vilna Gaon or whatever, or big Hasidic leaders. We not the Jewish people don't have the tzaddikim like that was in the past, and the Jewish people aren't on